Yes, only, recently in the last, I'd say 9 months. So I'm nearly 30 now. Never felt anything, nothing had ever got me. I kind of, to an extent, thought that it didn't exist, as bad as that sounds. I think it's really hard to understand something if you haven't been through it. You kind of hear a lot about it, know it's pretty big and that things are going on. A couple of people in work had struggled a lot with it, and I was really kind of understanding to it, but didn't quite understand properly. I ended up having a panic attack randomly about 9 months ago, and then it's kind of anxiety, the anxiousness around having another panic attack and worrying about it happening has then created a massive sort of issue for me in a way.
So I struggled with my mental health since I was about 12, so it's pretty much got to a point where all I remember is having issues with it. It's always been a thing that's never gone away, and to be honest, I've just accepted it now. Like, it's not really going away, but it's more about how you deal with it when it comes, and it, like, when you can have episodes.
I'm fairly chilled out as a person. Obviously, you struggle with a little bits day to day, but in general, I've never really had that bad anxiety. I've had a couple of times in life where extreme events have kind of like caused me to have a lot of anxiety, including a health issue I had when I was 27. It's kind of out of your control. You end up overthinking everything. First thing you do is Google what's wrong with you. You're dying immediately. And other than that, I've dealt with anxiety just by working hard and taking my mind off things or going out socialising. I'm a very active person. The only other time that I really struggled was when I lost my dad, which was just over 3 years ago. That was probably the most challenging thing for me within my life, but made me much more aware of mental health and the effects of mental health. I mean, I knew he was in a bad way. I lost him directly as a result of his own mental health, and I think that spurred me on to want to do more campaigning, create more awareness, be more sympathetic to people in the workplace, to take an interest in people around me, because half the time you don't really know how bad a situation people are in. On the back of that, I've focused on trying to get myself in a good place, and I don't think I've ever been in a better place as a result of the things that have happened to me.
Yeah, I think everybody struggles with their mental health, to be fair. And it's one of those, like, sometimes you kind of think you're indispensable, or you think that maybe, why would there be a problem with me? But everyone's got stuff going on at home, like, everyone's got problems, so there's always going to be something, whether it's something going on with your parents or a girlfriend or work, it could be anything. It's always going to kind of get you down, so it's important to realise that, that's okay, and it's alright to have those problems. It don't make you weak, it just kind of makes you normal.
Yes, actually, quite recently, for the first time ever. Got myself wrapped up in DJing, was barely sleeping, like I say, minimal energy, got mixed up with some wrong people, because it was always different crowds and going to parties with different types of people. Lost my family really, and then lost sort of friends that I grew up with, so it became a bit depressing at times when I was actually able to sit down and think about it properly. But other than that, I've been alright. But yeah, recently it's it became a bit, I became down about it and stuff, and luckily I've sorted it out now.
Yeah, so throughout obviously my childhood and being a teenager in school and then to being an adult, I've gone through like different stages of help. So when I was at primary school, obviously that's when it first started, I used to go to these classes where teachers would kind of like sit me apart and just talk through things with me. So I found things difficult. I was always an outgoing kid and very confident, but just did not know how to like handle emotions at all. So I used to go to like a few meetings, which was good. Through a teenager, I used to go, same again, meetings at schools, and then when I got to an adult, it got to a point where I had to just start, like, you know, doing something about it. I thought you'd grow out of it, but never really did. So I started going to therapy, mental health talk groups, they're lifesavers. Therapy was probably the best one for me. That 100% saved my life.
So at first I didn't even know it was a panic attack, wasn't aware. Kept having mini ones, still not really understanding what it was or what was going on. Spoke to Bex here at Morgan King and basically just had a breakdown one day and said, I don't know what's going on, I don't feel right, I keep getting all clammy, my heart keeps running really fast, random situations. And she sort of said, do you think it's anxiety? And I was like, no, like, I don't have anxiety, I don't have anything like that, I'm fine. It's only then that from speaking to her about it, from speaking to James about it, I was like, oh my God, it must be anxiety. It sort of all started happening at a time where I was under a lot of stress, which I've always been under, I suppose. You are to a degree. But I was drinking a lot because my head wouldn't switch off. And I think just one thing after another of potentially abusing my body in a way, it's like all the physical abuse I've probably put my body through for years, the lack of sleep, drinking too much, all sort of came to a head, I think, and got to me. So I did speak to them and they sort of advised doing natural things. So meditation, I started doing that to get to sleep at night, more exercise, spoke to a therapist. So just really trying to do as much as possible that I could influence sort of myself to get better. But obviously it's just a bit of a work in progress.
Do you know what? I wasn't sort of man enough to do something about it myself because I didn't actually realise. But my parents noticed it. My mum really reached out to me and sort of did something about it, took it hands on. And then my friends that I grew up with as well, they sort of really had a serious chat with me about stuff and, you know, were just saying that they care about me and they want me to sort it out and change what's going on. So that's what sort of fueled it really. And then obviously Morgan King, James, he, you know, addressed it and spoke to me about it in detail and yeah, helped me out really, and it's absolutely changed my life, to be honest.
Yeah, of course it does. When it's in that moment when you're not well or when something's going on, it's obviously going to affect you at work, because work is where you're the most productive and it's where you are the most kind of doing what it is that you have to do really, and the rest of the time you're supposed to kind of chill out, so you almost can chill out a bit more when you're not doing that. Work can also take your mind off of it, which is useful, but again, you don't really realise if you've got something going on. You might kind of reject the fact that something's happening, and you don't understand that actually if you take a step back and think, actually maybe I've been a bit tight at work, or I've been a bit stressed and work's kind of topping over that. So yeah, again, it's just important to like understand what's going on and not beat yourself up if you've had a bad day at work.
I try and just, when I'm in work mind frame, and I try not to let kind of like my personal life come into it. I know that you can see day to day that loads of people, especially the younger people within the business, struggle with things, family issues, personal issues, health things, and I think that it's really important to have that structure and to be able to come in and to work hard and be proud of something, because in turn, you know, that's really helped me with my mental health issues. I've managed to build a fairly successful business, and you know, it's going from strength to strength, and I like to think that all these types of things, talking about it, you know, talking with the guys in work really helps me to get through these difficult times.
It does, but it's not like destructive. Like, I 100% feel like everyone's different and everyone deals with their, you know, mental health differently. For me personally, I've got to be active. the desk that I'm working on at the moment, I don't have time to be sat thinking about stuff. I always have to keep my brain like functioning. I always have to be concentrating on stuff. I'm always active, and that helps me cope with it. Because as soon as I get a moment where, you know, I don't have to think about anything, which, let's face it, never really happens in our, you know, work. As soon as you get that moment where you can start to think about stuff, I think if you're having a bad day, that's when it can start to like spiral you out of control a bit. Then you start getting destructive. Kind of, well, for me anyway, I get destructive. I start to lose concentration in what I'm doing, and it's hard to get myself back on track. Start losing control a bit. But again, just take a breather and then just sit, think about what I need to do, get myself back on track.
I'd probably say getting the numbers right, living up to my word, and not letting my team down or people that have put faith in me down, and just basically just proving myself. That's what I'm most worried about all the time, but it ends up making me strive more anyway. It ends up benefiting me. It's like good pressure. I like it.
I don't worry about my job. This is the mad thing. There's no pressure on me from above or James, or there's no pressure to that work is putting on me that I'm not putting on myself. So I think the thing I realised is I worry about worrying about something affecting me, which is just like this mad cycle. And it's not that anything is any factors at work are causing me to panic or be anxious about a situation, because it's always fine, but it's I'm putting pressure on myself and I'm not wanting to worry or feel like I'm under pressure, and it just ends up being a big cycle of worry about nothing really.
Struggle with and worry about just being successful in general. I mean, we work in recruitment, so that specifically aligns with how much money you're making and stuff, so that's the obvious answer. But money and success kind of come hand in hand, so it's less a financial thing, more of like a self-achievement thing. I think everybody wants to go home and feel like they've done something and feel like they've really contributed to the world that they live in. So I think that's the biggest worry. You want to be a success, kind of make your parents proud and do something that makes you feel like you've kind of made someone's life a bit easier, or you've helped the organisation that you work for, because that's kind of what you get paid to do.
How do I unwind after work? Go home, I light my candles, run myself a bath, get in the bath, chill out, head back, and I just play some music and I just chill out. Or I'll whack a film on. To be honest, it's good because like in the passive fire protection side of me, it's temp labour. It's constant. You're always on the phone, always ringing, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But when you go home, you're so like tired, like mentally tired. That it is good to have those times where you just relax and you don't have to think about anything. And doing stuff that's good for your soul. I think that's massive. For me, just listening to music and chilling out with a candle.
I used to drink, but now I kind of just try and, I don't know, it's weird, we're in recruitment, you're kind of constantly working. I think it's more on the weekends. During the week I'm still working. On the weekends I've just been trying to not drink as much, get out more, walk in, get fresh air, be productive, clean the house, things that are completely separate to work. So I think I don't really switch off massively in the week, and I don't mind that. That doesn't affect me too much because it's kind of, you work extra after work. But it's more when it comes to the weekends, I just, go out for walks, clean the house, things like this that keep you preoccupied, that are completely not work related.
Well, I mean, there's many ways to unwind, isn't there? Going out and getting smashed after work probably isn't the right way to. But it used to be like that, but it's not going to be like that anymore. So I guess now it'd be going home, having some nice food, banging on a box set that you're really into, and just, chilling out, winding down the right way. Maybe bang a candle on, you know, get a bath, Epsom salts, something like that. But yeah, I don't think going out and drinking is the right one.
Yes. So I do a lot of techniques. So one thing for me, like therapy taught me a lot of things. So there's this one thing that I do from therapy every morning. I'm not going to share it 'cause it's very personal, but I do it every morning, and I've done it every morning for the past 2.5 years. And it is so simple. Just wake up, do it, get it over and done with, and it makes my life easier every day. Just one little thing. Talking as well. Talking to the right people and the right sort of groups. So, for example, there's a group in Bradford called Speaking Club, and literally you just go in, you just talk about your week. You don't have to say anything. It's like just go in, listen to other people, share what you've done this week. You know, they'll ask you, how's your week been? And it's like, yeah, it's been really good. This is what I've done. Oh, great. What struggles have you had this week? And you know, you get it out, and then they just, it's not that sort of where you sat opposite someone whose profession is to distinguish what's going on in your head. It's more of you sat next to someone else who's on a similar level to you, who have, you know, struggled through their own stuff in the past, and they're just talking to you as if, you know, you're the mate at a pub. And it's nice. It's like you're connecting with down to earth people who are literally on the same level as you, and that's really positive. That's one of probably the best things I do at the moment.
So I have a number of apps that I've got on my phone, like everyone does. I use Calm, which is a good app. I listen to lots of audiobooks using Audible, so quite often on an evening I'll listen to audiobooks and just educate myself a little bit on all sorts of different things. I recently listened to a really good app about sleep and how sleep affects your life and how you can get a lot more energy from sleeping in the right patterns at the right times, and it can just generally put you in a better mind frame. So I'm always looking to try and educate myself on these things. Yeah, so the apps and Audible, I think they're really good ways to do that. The gym is a massive stress release for me. Obviously getting out and getting fresh air, even getting yourself in a good routine of getting yourself out of bed early in the morning, like if you're in the office early, you know, and you're organised. I think good habits are, you know, key to success and to positivity. So if you're kind of constantly going out all the time, it's hard to knock that habit on the head. But in the same token, you know, you can have a good habit of getting up every morning and going to the gym. So it's all about routine.
Yeah, try to go to the gym, but I should do that more often. And I know from experience that when you go to the gym quite regularly, you do feel a lot better about yourself. I speak to people. I always make sure that I speak to the people that I love if I've got problems going on. I'm quite open, so it's easy for me to kind of communicate problems that are going on. But yeah, I think everyone's different. But yeah, again, speak to a professional occasionally. I think I'm very lucky that I can do that, and fortunately I've come quite a long way and probably don't need to speak to him as much because it was a couple of years ago when I was going through some stuff.
Just talk more. I know, again, that sounds cliched, but you've got to talk. You've got to open up. A lot of people that come and talk to me, you know, about problems at home or just wanting a bit of time off because they've got something going on, they won't actively kind of talk about what that problem is. They won't go away and get a therapist. They won't seek any help because it's kind of frowned upon, or they feel a bit stupid or embarrassed. So I think it's doing things like this to tell people it's okay, you know, to tell people that they're struggling. You know, it could be something tiny that they're struggling with that causing them the biggest anxiety. But unless they go out and speak to other people about it who are sharing the same problems, they're never going to realise that it's actually normal. You know, I don't know what the stats are, but I can imagine that 99% of people struggle with anxiety day to day, you know, for one reason or another. So it's normalising the fact that it's okay to feel like that. you know, and if they're sharing the problems with other people and those people kind of share the problems back, you know, I think it can take a lot of strain off. So, as I say, it's cliched, but just talk to people, go for a pint, tell people how you feel. And also, therapy, absolutely, you know, it sorted me out, and I think I can't recommend it highly enough.
I'd definitely say don't make the mistake I made and bottle it up. I'd reach out to someone that you're close to, that you can trust, that's not going to judge you at all, because everyone will have someone that is like that with them. And yeah, just have a chat, because once I actually sat down with my friends and parents and opened up and actually said how I was feeling, it was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and I didn't even realise until I'd spoke about it. So as much as you think it might be pointless or no one will listen, like they really will, and you'll realise people around you that care about you. So speak to someone that you know.
Well, it's tough to advise people struggling because everyone struggles with different things and you can never quite relate to the exact situation that's going on. But from my experience, it's about kind of getting out and doing things. If you want a day to yourself, you know, take a day to yourself, relax, watch films, chill out, but don't do it all the time. And same with going out on the booze and enjoying yourself, which we should do at our age, especially if there's something going on. You want to take your mind off it, you want to have fun with the people that you love around you. Occasionally, don't do that all the time, because that'll just pile up any problems that's going on. And I think it's quite well publicised at the moment that it's good to talk to people about things that's going on. So I think fortunately most people know that, but it's easier said than done. So obviously I think everyone would just say talk to someone that you trust, get them to ask the right questions, someone that you think will offer good advice, and speak freely and honestly with yourself about what's going on, because as soon as you realise exactly what the problem is and what the cause might be, it makes it a lot easier for you to think, well, it's quite normal that I'm feeling this way, and anybody else might feel quite similarly if they were in the same position. So that doesn't make you weak, or it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just we've all got positives going on and we've all got negatives going on. So as I say, it's just important to identify what might be making you upset, and then that way you can look at it and be able to move on.
See, I think it's a difficult one, because I always found it hard I believe that everyone has their own distinct way of figuring out what's going on, dealing with it their own way, and I think that's a very good thing. But one piece of advice I'd give is that you will never know that until you try different things. It's like a lottery ticket. You've got to buy the lottery tickets to win the lottery. You know what I mean? You're not going to get it first time. Trying the different things leads you to a path which does help you. I've tried so many different things since being 12-year-old, and then finally got me to a stage where I found something that did help. And then now I've got my own coping mechanisms, I've got my own ways of dealing with myself. I know the triggers, I know when I'm going to get into that situation, how to get myself out of that situation. So I think talk to people, talk to the right people. When I say talk to the right people, it's just it's relevant to yourself. Who's the right person for you? Could be a parent, could be a mate, work, doctors, anyone. I just think just talk about it, get it off your chest, get it out there, make it into a thing that you can see and hold, and then address it.
My advice would be to talk about it. I think, it's not like when it's physical and you have a cut, you can look at it and be like, right, I understand, it hurts, I understand why, makes sense, everybody else can see I'm hurting because of that. When it's mental, no one can see what's going on. You're in your head, and I feel like I felt like I was held hostage by my own brain, to be honest, and all these thoughts are swirling, and you kind of go a bit numb, and you don't really want to tell anyone because you think, how can someone understand something that they can't see? So I did feel quite trapped, that all these things are going on and I'm like, how do I even explain this? Someone's going to think I'm crazy. But I think the best thing I did was speak to someone and say, look, I can't explain it, don't know why it's going on, but my head's going mental, I'm up and down, I want to cry, I want to do this, I want to do that, no idea why, but I just want to let you know. doing that instantly opened up conversation that made me feel better, because it was like, this is normal, loads of people go through this. I think my advice would be to anyone who feels like they are struggling and they don't really understand, is just to tell someone, because they always say it's better to get it off your chest. And definitely for me, that helped me manage it, because it made it more normal. It rationalized what was going on, instead of just feeling like no one will understand. So 100% talk to someone about it. Guarantee it'll be a lot easier conversation than people think it is. So